A headline in the Wall Street Journal back in April declared the Toledo real estate market a gold mine, and outside investors seem to be taking notice. That's because Lucas County now has a new leader when it comes to property holders, and that firm is not from Toledo or even the state of Ohio. Tonight, lead investigator Brian Duggar uncovers the growing issue impacting your taxes, rent, and community.
If you drive around Toledo, you can see a bunch of houses that are owned by LLCs, like this one here on Spring Street. And if you look at Lucas County records, it sold for $1.4 million back in May to a firm in Baltimore. But it really didn't. This house on Western Avenue has been vacant for months. Windows are busted, the grass is high, and then there's the rats.
I seen about 2 of them running over here last night, and I'm like, wow, now I got to go find some stuff to try to get rid of the rats.
Now this house is owned by an LLC in Australia, and the owners, they've likely never even been to Toledo. Since last month, 11 Investigates has been looking into records related to outside investors buying up homes in Lucas County. Of the 201,000 county properties, nearly 10,000 are owned by LLCs. About 3,000 are from out of state. Besides Ohio LLCs, investors in California, Florida, Michigan, and New York own the most properties. And investors from as far away as Hawaii, Australia, Saudi Arabia, and Israel own pieces of Lucas County.
Because there's a lot of people come from out of different countries and buying houses. And I don't think it's right for them to do that. To come here and buy it like that, and then they don't even come and fix it. And they don't do nothing for nobody else when they do buy them.
Now, Jerry Hunter has lived on Western Avenue for more than 30 years. He says he's never seen the owners of the house next door, but now he's dealing with their neglect. But the Australia house next door is small compared to other recent LLC moves. A month after the Wall Street Journal declared Toledo a real estate gold mine because of its affordable prices, an LLC in Baltimore began snapping up land. Riparian bought 115 properties for $8.2 million in May and June, wiping out $142,000 in delinquent taxes. Now at the same time, Riparian bought 152 properties in Cleveland for $13 million. Bulk LLC purchases get grouped together on county records. That explains the high sales figure for Spring Street.
My task as county auditor is to ensure that we're doing it accurately. I have no authority to stop the transaction if it is being done following the law.
The timing appears connected to the Wall Street Journal article in April and other headlines.
It takes a lot of time and effort to be a
University of Toledo professor Dan Hamill says Toledo is now being featured prominently in real estate investment publications.
Toledo sort of got a little bit of buzz about being affordable for home ownership, and if you start to look at some of these websites or trade publications that focus on real estate investors, Toledo is now just plastered all over the place.
The attraction is simple economics. Investors can buy properties cheaply, sometimes for as low as $20,000, but charge relatively high rents because Toledo's rental market hasn't kept pace with its low purchase prices.
Anytime you see that differential between a low-cost purchase and an ability to charge a fairly high rent, you're going to get a lot of interest.
11 Investigates has reported on blighted and vacant properties in Toledo for several years. While investment can revitalize neighborhoods, council members see warning signs.
The problem with out-of-town owners is they're too disconnected from the neighborhoods. How are you going to maintain these properties when you're out of town and make sure the quality of life of the people that you're having reside in these properties is up to par?
They're coming in and buying them, renting them out, but then they're not fixing them up. They're not answering calls from the tenants. They're out of town. We've got people that own properties, Las Vegas.
And sometimes they aren't answering the calls of county officials. Outside investors currently own fewer than 5% of county properties, but they account for more than 15% of the county's $116 million delinquent tax total.
That's the part that's hard.
Treasurer Lindsay Webb has been targeting outsiders with collection efforts.
I have prioritized reaching out to entities outside of Lucas County in the state of Ohio and outside the state of Ohio to say, we're aware that you own property in our county and your property is delinquent, and respectfully pay up.
But there are other concerns. First concern, outside investors squeezing out local residents pursuing home ownership.
Another one of these issues that you have with a lot of those larger firms, the private equity and so on coming in, they don't have to get pre-approved for a mortgage. They don't have to supply all the paperwork that you need to supply a financial institution.
Another worry is these groups owning large blocks of property.
These are the algorithm-driven firms, and if they can raise that rent every year, they'll raise it every year. If they can raise it every 6 months, they'll raise it every 6 months. So it'll increase rental prices in Toledo. I think that's going to happen.
Now, Malene says protection should come from the General Assembly, starting with expanding the owner-occupied credit.
It encourages home ownership. It encourages people, incentivizes them to own their own home because they do get a credit to own and live in that home. What exists now is, barely, scratches the surface in terms of incentivizing it.
All of the riparian purchases were from other LLCs, bypassing any potential mom and pop buyers. This also can be addressed at a state level.
There's no law on the books right now with LLCs and their ability to transfer property once they own it. So that, of course, causes challenges for county auditors and the like.
And at a local level, Webb says her collection efforts from outsiders could end in tax foreclosures that open the properties to Toledoans.
Because quite frankly, there are investors in the city of Toledo and in Lucas County that are competing with entities that are outside of the county that may have closer ties to the community and have more of an interest in protecting neighborhoods.
Jerry Hunter, of course, shares her protective spirit.
They letting these people coming out of there like that, buying up all these properties. They ain't giving nobody who's been living here all their life a chance to try to buy some property. So I think it's bad. They shouldn't do that.
Reporting in Toledo, this is Brian Duggar for 11 Investigates.
And tonight, our team is learning more about Riparian. The Baltimore-based firm just recently spent nearly $55 million on properties. Last year, it snapped up 297 properties in Pittsburgh. And now tenants are complaining about their new landlords being hard to reach and slow to respond to concerns.